This is Justin AMZN on Friday, April 13th, 2018. The pre-market this morning looked like it was bouncing a bit, actually coming up into the same highs that we saw on Thursday, and getting ready to open here, right in this same level. And seems like every day we just kind of been moving up a little bit. We can zoom out a little bit to see if maybe there was an uptrend angle, just to kind of be support along the way on along the last few days. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit here. But we'll step into the day, and immediately we open up and we just go up bullish. We come through and past our 1455 price, and I think we hung out up here for a little bit. Yeah, so we come right back down. Then the next candle, we're an inside candle right back up into this, and it's like, okay, great. We've been kind of trending upward. We've had these sell-offs on some of these days, like this day, and then yesterday just being mostly flat, not much to do directionally. And now we break out of that, going bullish even more. And look at this, like we've got this low here, right on the 1455. This could just keep on going. We've been building up so much momentum, just without too much of a range. We've been stuck between 1404 and 1455. This is our first time getting above it. There's lots of people loading in bullish, buying up here because we're finally breaking out. But the issue is that when we have a breakout like this, there's usually a retest. So maybe this could be a bit of a retest here. And it'd be nice to see a bearish candle to get in on. Okay, there's the bearish candle. And obviously you see the little icon pop up here saying 1459.78 is the high. Well, it doesn't get back up there. That's why that's the high there. This is actually a great place for a reversal. We're at a resistance, known resistance. We overshot it. We came back a little bit. And come back into it with similar volume we've seen the last few candles here. We do throw a indecision candle right here, and this is the place that you could get in bullish above the 1455. I'd wanted to get through that a little bit with a stop down below, maybe at 1450. So maybe 1456 by 1450, something like that. $6 risk. So whatever that is for shares, or if you're doing options, whatever it is, and look for a move higher. Alternatively, a bearish trade, because this is resistance here and there's not much room going up, but this could be a good place to say, okay, we have all these people buying. If we actually break below this low, so 1448 or 1450, might as well wait for 1448 and a stop at 1455, something like that. And we get almost an inside 5-minute candle, but not quite. And we have a little bit of indecision, some selling here. We're not quite up to the 1455, but it's clearly a rejection of that price. And then we break lower. So after it put in this candle, you could have moved your trigger bearish to 1450 instead of 1448 with a stop at 1455. Would have had a $5 range. And now you're, up a little bit on this move. But you've now trapped everybody who just bought here. Anybody was buying pre-market, anybody was buying in the highs yesterday, and you're right here at the low we saw right before the market closed yesterday. So we're right at that level, but we don't really have much going on there. Let's see if we look to the left. I guess, yeah, we're right here in these highs. Actually a little bit, probably closer to these highs a couple days ago. So throw a nice long lower wick. If you had gotten into this trade, you could have gotten out for an R, maybe a little bit more than that down here. But again, this would have been just the lows here. There's not so much of a target here, but good place to tighten up a stop. Maybe you got stopped out on this. If you tighten your stop up to 1448, maybe made a little bit, got trailed out. But this is phenomenal, having this kind of a quick S curve. Maybe now it's going to go bullish. We got a lot of bearish momentum, no squeeze or anything. But remember, we rejected this resistance. We we are below it. We had a bearish engulfing with this candle. Now we broke down from an indecision candle. Now this is just a retest of that indecision candle. Could have been buying here if you didn't get on this move. Buying a put here, the stop up here, and look for it to continue down lower. And that's actually kind of what it does. It goes a little bit lower into these lows here. I'm not going to look at every candle here, but it comes down close to 1440. So this would have been probably close to 2R here on the shares, depending on the option. Maybe you got 2R. And I'm just going to kind of speed through this because this is all that happened for a couple of hours. We formed a squeeze. We chopped around, and it just went sideways, like for a while. And so all through this, the candles were getting smaller. Looked like, okay, now we're going to move, but it didn't, and it just came back down. And okay, now we're kind of putting in a base here, kind of have some resistance here. You could kind of see this as, you know, some lower highs, some higher lows, and this definitely is consolidation here. You've got, you know, a couple candles in a row here, just like here, that actually were, you know, within like a $3 range. It's just crazy how tight this got. And then it looked like it was going to break out, a false breakout. So people were going bullish here, stopped out, or, you know, maybe just exited for a small loss. People were going bullish here, and that didn't work either. Then people were going bullish here. It's like, okay, that's not working. And so you look at the whole day seeing, okay, bearish, bearish move, bearish move, bearish move, don't go bullish, don't go bullish, don't, you know, all these failed bullish moves. It's like, maybe this is going to continue lower. So right in here, this would have been a great place to say, okay, if this starts to break down, we've got some support here we need to get through. So maybe a trigger bearish at 1440 with a stop around 1445, 1446, something like that. You could take that down a little bit further. So right here, it's around about 120, 115 in this area that it's actually breaking down. Indecision candle breaks bearish from that one. We still have the squeeze. We got an indecision bullish candle right on this this intraday support. And so it's really interesting to see what happens here. Do we break down? Do we bounce? Do we come back into this, consolidate to the end of the day for the last hour and a half? And we actually break a little bit more bearish. Very next candle, consolidate inside candle. Now we throw a lower wick. Could be some people buying in here from the pre-market, from buying yesterday in this area. And all those folks are, oh, and we have the squeeze that fired bearish as well. Increase in volume, everything's looking bearish. And it actually just breaks down completely. You got some people buying way down here. I don't see anything really to the left saying, okay, this is a good place to buy, other than a lower wick. And what's really interesting is we're getting really close to this angle that we drew the other day. And I didn't notice this until I was just getting ready for the video. And we actually tagged it. So I'll zoom out. I was actually shocked to see that tag that. It bounced a little bit from that. So we'll zoom back out here. I don't even have it on the chart where we drew that from. That's how long ago we drew that. So, oops, I wanted to look at this. Can I time frame? Can I increase 10 days? There we go. Okay. See, I did that pretty quick. What happened? What happened to my line? Okay, now I'm not sure what happened to the line. Because the line totally just moved. What in the world? Why does it look... Okay. Well, something's up with that line, but... Or something's down with the line. I'm pretty sure this is drawn correctly here. I don't know why it looks different. If I look at the 15... What in the world? Okay, now I'm confused. Sorry, I don't like being confused while I'm doing a recording. But anyway, with this view... this was resistance. We danced around it, stayed above it for this day, and then actually touched it here, if that's the right line. Now I'm really wondering if it's not, because I thought it was going down steeper. I thought it was this day. Okay. So maybe completely ignore what I said here, but something's up with this line. Let's go look at 10, 5 minute. Let's do this again. Okay. Yeah. So this was the day. Okay. We had these highs here, resistance. Now we had a little bit of indecision on it. Bounced, stayed above it again. Okay. So that line is irrelevant. Why is this not? There we go. Let's zoom back out. All right. This line's irrelevant. The line I was thinking about that I never even drew in was something like this. And I grabbed some lows here, low here, low here, kind of some lows here, 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 and seeing it, break down today. That's probably more realistic since this one ended up not working. So what I'm going to do is just redraw. Oh, it wants to move. Let me redraw. No, doesn't want to redraw. Just wants to drag it. So I'm going to delete that one. We'll get rid of that because that's a couple days old. Not relevant anymore. And we'll see what we can do with drawing something up here. No, I don't really see anything. I guess the only other thing I could see would maybe be the highs on these. Something like this, some higher highs. Oops. This is really not cooperating. There we go. See how these videos are just kind of thrown together? Just my thoughts looking at what's going on. So, we got some highs here. Makes total sense that we would see, there you go, a high here, and another tag here. Makes sense that you connect to, these two, you would maybe be selling right here. And if I was into the computer, I would have been selling up here. Look at that. We've got the similar highs back here, 1458, 1459.56, 1459.38, and then 1459.70. Like all this was just similar highs, same sell-off. Actually had the same sell-off, after hours or pre-market down to this level. We didn't even get down that far during the day. We actually halted right here at the lows from 2 days ago. Lows from, this day. So we basically now have bookended bullish move, bearish move. And if we take a step back out, look at the daily, this gap is holding. We failed to get into that gap here. I mean, we wicked into it a little bit. Bearish gap and go here. That did not run. It actually put in a much longer kind of a flag and held that gap here today, where it actually gapped up. Looked like it was going, yesterday a gap up looking bullish. Today a gap up looking bullish, and ends up being a bearish engulfing candle on the daily, right into the 21 exponential here. And I should probably throw the, let's see if I can grab my study real quick. Load, no, add moving averages, and do the simple. And I don't even know which one it did. No, I don't want that one. Studies, edit studies. And I added the simple. We're going to bump this up to 100 because I really do want to see where, where the 100 is, because I know it's close. There you go. Yeah, so we got a few dollars away in here. It's continuing to just slope up. We lost so much volume the last few days. That's just going sideways. But today was the big move day with options and the time frames that things were moving. This could easily now come back down into these lows, 1450s here. Similar lows to back here for some of the bodies of these, not the wicks. But these lows here, and I got to get rid of some of these older lines now, like this one. But I mean, if we were to extend, oops, that didn't cooperate. If I were to extend this one, let's just straighten this out at 1455. a few more days. Get into the next week. I mean, by Monday, Tuesday, this average should be right up into this level. And so this would be a great target to have on a bearish swing. And actually, if we look at the hourly, we'll see what kind of move we could have here. So, yeah, we've got this bouncing around in here. We got some selling today that could just continue down to the lows down here. It's not that far to go to come back down to these lows, retest, and then go bullish. But I mean, still, you could gap up and trap everybody shorting here, because that's what everyone's looking to do. Short this, people shorting this, shorting this, shorting this, shorting this. It totally makes sense that it's going to be shorted again today. And really wish that I was shorting it from up there too, because it's so obvious. Look at this move. So zoom back in on just today. So much not happening during the day here. Could have been selling in the first, in this evening star reversal, or even waited for this candle and shorting that candle. So this would have been a move below at 855. So let's go over to the put. That's the call. So the put, I'm looking at the 1440 put. If you had gotten in above the high of the 855 candle on the put, you probably would have been buying around $3, maybe $3.25, something like that, with a stop below it. The lows were 260 and 259. So easily could have done 325 by 225 and taken that up to very quickly 6. So that would have been 3, 4, almost 4R on this quick move. Pulled back, came right back up. You would have gotten out if you hadn't gotten out here. But just some really quick, probably would have gotten 2 or 3R on that quick of a move from this candle pulling down to here and then coming down here again, about the same price on the options. But then we got into just some shop. If we go back and look at the call, so this is the call, could have been buying at the open, it ran up. You would have had to have been really nimble, looking for a move higher. And then the rest of the day, nothing really got going. Maybe a little bit here. Maybe the option kind of doubled or almost doubled in price from the low here to the high here. So this was at 1050, and that was 1050. So selling or buying a put up here and getting out of it over here. This totally looks like it's going to move bullish. This was the consolidation, trapping everyone here. Actually tagged that line. What line is that again? Oh yeah, that's this one I just drew. It's like, wait, I didn't see that today. So tagged that line, good place to bounce and rally, but it just bounced and gave up. So probably we're not shorting from right here. You had almost a shaved top. Yeah, shaved top candle here. Another shaved top candle here, and that would have been kind of bookends for a bearish move. Doesn't do that, so would have maybe been looking to go bullish, but it didn't do that. All in all, it was just a sideways. For hours, from really, let's say from, okay, that's a little bit of a high, maybe from this candle or this candle. So 10 o'clock till past 1 o'clock. So 3 solid hours just doing nothing in here. Just look at this. It zooms in on a couple dollars range because it was that inactive. So all the while, people are loading in, bullish, bearish, whatever. And if you're trading options that expired today, you're just losing money, all the premium getting sucked out. And so, wait for something to actually tell you it's going. So this one looks like it's indecision right on that same support. Does not go bullish, actually breaks through it. Indecision right below it. Could have gone bearish here, here. Any of these, this is still just kind of just a trend lower. And then, by this point, you've got some quicker moves. And that's all you really needed. So any of these candles, so from 130 to 150, could have been buying puts. So where was that? 130 to 150. You would have been buying anywhere around $4, the stop at $3, and that would have worked. So if you had bought puts for 4 and a stop at 3, looks like that would have worked and would have gone up to 15. Maybe you got out at 12 and got, you know, 4, let's call it 13 for the, or no, 14 for easy numbers. That's 10R. You know, from 4 to 14 is 10R. Maybe you didn't quite get that much. Maybe you got out on this candle at 12. That's 8R. That's, you know, 8 times your risk. That's phenomenal. That's amazing to do. And, you know, we can see it. You just have to be really patient for all of this to go by and for it to get some direction and not just continue to chop and do that into the close. So this is just one of the options. Oops, 1440 put. If you didn't want to spend $400, you could have done the 1435 put expiring today. That one would have been similar in here, buying for 2 with a stop at 1. That would have gone up to, you know, maybe got out at 8 or 9. That would have been, you know, a 7 or, what did I say, from 2 to 8. So this would have been a 6 or a 7R gain, you know, or even this candle. I mean, that would have been easily 5R right there. If you don't want to spend $200 to do this, could have gone with a 1430 put between 130 and 150 in this range. You could have been buying it for $100 with a stop at 50 or no stop, and just being, you know, the max risk being the full R, 100, and that would have worked, you know, buying even up into 150, buying for $1 or buying for $100 and getting out at 4, 5, 6, anywhere in here, you know, for 4, that's 3R, there's 4R up here, anything like that, a great move. And even if you were a little further away, so 1425, which it actually did come really close to tagging. I'll have to look at the low again and see what that was. Could have bought for $50 anywhere in here, spent 50 for a move up to 350. So that's 7 times or 6 times, you know, made 6 times what you risked at $50. Or gotten out at 2, that would have been 3 times, you know, whatever it is, however many you got. If you got one, these for $50, flipped it out at $2, that's $150 gain, you know, something like that. That's the kind of moves that can happen on a Friday when you're trading the options expiring today, and you wait for everything to actually fire. You know, this actually broke down. The low in here was being retested on this wick here, this wick here. Even if you had waited for these wicks to say, okay, yeah, we just retested that, that would have been the place, you know, within this body's range. This one or this one would have been a place to short on those wicks with a stop up here, or no stop with it at all if you're doing further out of the money. And with so much momentum built up, I mean, this is where the squeeze actually fired after this candle. The squeeze is actually fired for all 4 of these candles, and it's still trending lower on the momentum. Volume's starting to come in because so many people have been inactive. I mean, look at the volumes down here, just nothing going on. And then you start to get some bearish volume come in, bearish volume, indecision volume, bearish volume on all these candles, and it's gone. I mean, very quickly moves down and then bounces a little bit here. If somebody was buying down here at 1425, probably would have been doing that with maybe a 1425 call. A little bit of bounce from, you know, maybe bought at 3, got out at 5, something like that, or 4 to 6, something like that. Or if you're looking for a little bit more of a move, let's see, this one came down to below here, 80, maybe bought for $1 and flipped it out at 2, just for a little bit of a gain on that bounce. That would have been counter trend, so you wanted to do that quickly. Anyway, there are a lot of ways to play this. Now, if you go one more strike out, and actually it's 2 more because Amazon's got the 250 strikes. So every 250, there's a strike price. So this, you know, even this would have been a good move. So the 1420 went down here from under $20. So risk $20, $15 plus commissions, or at least a commission on one side, you know, since you're buying, and flip that out, you know, either on this candle if you're watching it, or, you know, this candle could have spent $20 to make 100, or to make 150, or 120, 140, something like that. Would have made a couple times your money. even this far out. And let's even just go another one. So 14.15 put. Even this has a little bit of a bump from $10 up to $80 at the high. So, you know, $10 up to $50. Still making a little bit of something just buying any of these. I think we start to lose out on any sort of move. 14.10. So this would have been from 5 cents up to 35 cents, or $5 to $35. I mean, if you got filled on that. Now, most likely somebody is buying this thinking it's just going to tank all the rest of the day and get all the way down to be in the money. So from 5 maybe to 20, 25 maybe, if that's what was going on. Some people were probably shorting this or selling the puts just because there was some premium that came back in, and you know, we've been so range bound that 14.10 was way down at the bottom of that range. Very unlikely that we would come all the way back down to 14.10 when the move started here. But we've got our framework. That's what it was that helped us see that, you know, we have a good place to sell here. Even the lines here, the line here showing some support, and I should have drawn this in a couple days ago. That would have been a good place to see some support coming in, some support coming in, support coming in, and then see that break down and just dance on here today. That's just phenomenal. So the lines work, the trends work, and now that we've broken this bearish, we've broken this uptrend line, we've got some some supports here, but most likely to me it looks like it's coming back down to 1404, maybe even down to the 1350s, way down here. So we'll have to wait and see, but should have some moves next week, and then down here would be a good place to look for any sort of movement up to buy. You know, we had such great reversal or Morningstar reversal here that actually looked like it was going and just kind of paused. As I said, on the other perspective, if it gaps up again, it could really run. I mean, there was a lot of people selling today, a lot of people going short from this high, from this breakdown, a lot of people shorting, and you can see the volume spike, you know, with all these bears coming in, and then some people just, you know, getting out, and this was a lot of volume, and more people selling right after the market closed. So I would not be surprised if all these people got trapped and we either opened up around the 1445 area or above that, and look for it to actually push up and do something similar. If it moves up to 1460, 1455, you know, on Monday, you know, that would be a nice little move here, and then see, okay, are we going to run into the same resistance, sell down again, do something similar to this, or kind of chop back and forth and then ultimately just kind of roll down like we did 2 days ago. If we maintain a little bit up here, like yesterday's candle, just chop around, you know, look for getting, you know, going bearish at a high on the day, look for going bullish on a low of the day, you know, pulling back to a low or something like that. But you know, this has me thinking we're a little more bearish than bullish. We're definitely sideways, but you know, having this breakdown looks like we're a little more bearish than bullish. If we actually just open about the same level, I would look for it to run up into the 1440s, low 1440s, to get into this support that we broke down, and then reject that and roll back down. So gotta wait for more premium to leave till next Friday, but there could be some trades earlier in the week, even Monday, for how this sets up. So hope you enjoyed the video, and we will continue next week. This is Justin AMZN.